wanted to give you guys a look inside one of the newest releases from my family's homeschool resource business. Where'd you learn that? And this is Elementary Exegesis. This was my idea, but it was written by my mom. This was my idea because I saw my mom, who has been trained in biblical exegesis. I saw my mom teaching classes full of upper elementary, middle school, teenagers at our church at Sunday school, and she was teaching them the principles of exegesis. She was teaching them skills for reading the Bible that I didn't learn until I was in college or until I was an adult. And I was like, wow, we can teach these skills to kids. A lot of times kids are not really taught the skills necessary for reading the Bible. With no other ancient piece of literature would we just hand it to our kid and be like, this is super easy to understand and you can just read it and kind of figure out the meaning for yourself. We don't do that with, and when we do try to teach the meaning, sometimes we do it badly. So many Bible resources for kids seem to teach through all the different characters of the Old Testament, and they teach about them as moral heroes that our children should be inspired by and should emulate. And then our children grow up and they read about the real King David, and they read about the real King Solomon, and they read about the real Abraham and Jacob and Isaac, and they start to feel like, wait, this doesn't really seem to match up with what I was taught as a kid. Oftentimes, the way that we were taught, the way that we teach Bible to kids nowadays, I don't really feel like it does the Bible justice. And I don't think that it does kids justice either on what they can understand. The Bible can be understood, but it's not something that you hand to a little kid and you expect them to be able to understand all of it and understand it right away. We fully believe that meaning belongs to the author. We don't believe that meaning belongs to the reader. Meaning, not application, but meaning of a verse. So this exegetical Bible study is not a type of Bible study that goes through the Bible and asks, what does this mean to me? This goes through the Bible and this asks, these verses, this passage was included for a purpose. It has a meaning. What is that meaning and what is the purpose? It asks those questions and it seeks to discover the answers. I'm going to show you inside this course. I do want to say this is not a little kid Bible study. We are hopefully working on a Bible study for younger kids, like at the kindergarten, first grade, second grade-ish level. This is probably fourth grade and up is what I would recommend this for. Fourth grade, even through high school. If your high schooler has not been introduced to exegetical Bible study before, they could still be learning from these. If you have not studied exegetical Bible reading, you are also going to be learning as you go through this as well. So let me give you a look inside. All right, I'm going to give you a look inside elementary exegesis here. So first we'll look at the table of contents so that you can see what different topics are being covered. We have an intro to what is exegesis, followed by the importance of just reading the Bible. Then we get into parts, words, sentences and paragraphs, pronouns. So we begin by tackling small parts within the Bible and how to understand those. Then we do a few big overarching concepts. The Bible is a library. The Bible isn't from your neighborhood. How to read Bible stories, and these are the narratives of the Bible. Misuse of historical narrative, poetry. This is the area when we are tackling different genres within the Bible and different tricky things that could come up with reading these genres. Use of metaphors, reading Old Testament law, law enforcers, the prophets, wisdom literature, letters and sermons, and apocalyptic literature. And we're finishing up with a lesson on God is love and the purpose of the Bible. We have also within here, we have a key concepts summary, we have student pages and answer keys, because you'll probably want those. So this is what a lesson looks like. They are short lessons meant to be read aloud. Don't skip the Bible verses. They're usually chosen very carefully to tie into the topic of the lesson. And then we have our key concepts in boxes here. So first we have an intro to the idea of what is exegesis. It's probably not a word that your children are super familiar with. So you can see it's a short lesson, just about 2 pages, most of them, and you end it with some assignments. Every lesson will end with an assignment to practice with your what happened when cards. The intention of using these cards is to build familiarity with major events in the storyline of Scripture, and your job is to put them in order. So you mix them up, put them in order. We have custom illustrations done by my sister. So you have 18, I believe, major events from Scripture. You're building the general idea of what happened over the course of biblical history. So these are major events. Your goal is for your children to get very handy with putting them in order. What happened when? So they know when different events happened in relation to the other. We have the Read the Bible lesson. This is talking about how understanding the Bible, it really helps if you already have read different parts of the Bible, because different parts of the Bible are constantly referencing each other. They're constantly referring to each other. So it seems a bit like a catch-22, but to begin to really understand the Bible, you need to have read quite a bit of it, and the importance of that. Now, how words work, and we talk about the importance of context. One feature of many of the lessons is called breaking the rules. Breaking the rules gives real-life examples of how scriptures are misused, of times when people, probably with good intentions, end up breaking the rules on how to really understand scripture with the meaning that the authors intended to give it. Because meaning does not belong to the reader, meaning belongs to the author. So when reading the Bible, we should not be asking, what does this mean to me? But what was it? What did it mean? What did the author intend it to mean? What has it been understood to mean? Meaning does not belong to you as the reader. We talk about being able to identify the topic of a paragraph. So you'll notice in assignments, we have what happened when cards. Sometimes we have some videos. Then we also have activity pages. The activity pages come at the end. You can print as many copies as you need for however many children that you are doing it with. So you can see it's a short lesson. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing these day after day, but probably reading the lesson and taking some time to let it sink in as you read the Bible, trying to build the skills that are represented in each key concept. So we talk about all the different genres of literature within the Bible. By the way, this is one of my all-time favorite Bible verses. Just captures my heart and attention on who Jesus was, what he's done, what to think about, everything that he did during his life. So we have these other lessons. I only printed out the first few to show you, so you don't get to see the whole thing. Spoiler alert, you know. Then we have our student pages, and there's a variety of different activities. They are all tied into what we talked about during the lesson. So here we're talking about context, and then we're going over the parable of the talents. Here we're talking about identifying topics, and your child is going to be, we took out the little topic headers that you get in a lot of Bibles, and you're going to work on highlighting or coloring different sections in different colors, figuring out what topics are represented in this whole passage and where topics change. Here you're going to be working with pronouns, identifying the antecedents of different pronouns in the Bible. And here we get a nice big genre sort for the 66 books of the Bible, identifying the main literary style of each book. Venn diagram of my world versus the world of the Bible. This goes with the Bible isn't from your neighborhood, and the importance of understanding the geography and the history and the context in which it was written. Main plot versus details. That's important for understanding narrative. Right questions and wrong questions, also important for the biblical narratives. We have a few exercises on poetry and understanding the parallelism involved in biblical poetry. I really love our lesson on poetry. That was one of the things I really wanted my mom to include. And so you can see we've got a variety of activities. They are nerdy activities. This is why I say this is probably for 4th grade and up. This isn't your little kids Bible study. So I just printed out, not every single thing, but I wanted to give you a nice thorough look inside.